The first question is, how would you explain to a friend or client that is convinced that carbohydrates cause weight gain and that they should be greatly reduced when dieting? So, the body uses carbs as its main energy source, and during digestion, complex carbs are broken down into simple sugars called glucose and released into your blood, which is called blood glucose. Insulin is released to help glucose enter the body's cells where it can be used for energy. Extra glucose is stored in the liver and in the muscles. Some is changed to body fat. A low carb diet is meant to cause the body to burn stored fat for energy, which leads to weight loss. Now, if you're eating lots of carbs and not exercising, and being a couch potato, then you're going to your carbohydrates are gonna cause weight gain because you're not using them as energy. Eating the right amount of carbs will not cause weight gain, but eating too many carbs for your specific body weight and daily activity levels can cause weight gain. I personally have seen people be successful on a keto diet, but you have to be very self-disciplined, obviously, and knowledgeable about how to properly fuel your body with very little carbs. You do not necessarily need to cut out all carbs in your diet to lose weight, but but if you continue to eat chips and starchy foods, your weight loss regimen should be more exercise based then, considering you're not going to change your diet. It would be best to decrease your carb intake to the recommended daily intake for your weight range and your activity level, while also exercising to lose weight. That would be the best option. The second question is, summarize what the research has shown with regards to the various diet archetypes we discussed in class, such as low fat, very low fat, low carb, keto, high protein, and intermittent fasting, and their impact on body composition. So first off, a low fat diet can be classified as high carbohydrates and high protein. A low-fat diet has between 20 and 35% fat in the diet, and a low-fat diet also has been good at promoting weight loss when calories are restricted. This diet would cause someone to have very lean body composition, and their fat mass and fat-free mass decreases. Someone in a low-fat diet should consume higher amounts of protein as well. A very low fat diet would be between 10 and 20% fat. This diet is suggested for people with heart diseases and diabetes. Studies show a decrease in body weight, body fat, and waist circumference, but results are more due to the decreased caloric intake than the decreased fat intake, but very low fat diets can create vitamin and mineral deficiencies too. Now, for the low carb diet, which is consuming 45% carbs, that has showed to lead to significant weight loss and body composition changes. A low carb diet helps with waist to hip circumference and decreases the risk of cardiovascular disease. Next, the keto diet. On a ketogenic diet, an individual should consume around 50 grams of carbs or less, 1.2 to 1.5 grams per kilogram a day of protein, and 60 to 80% of their diet should be fat. Utilization of the ketone bodies in part outperform non-ketogenic conditions for the goal of fat loss. The ketogenic diet also increases fat oxidation. A high protein diet can be considered 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram, or even up to 2.4 grams per kilogram of protein per day. If paired alongside intense training, a 2.4 gram per kilogram protein diet, you should see a greater amount of fat loss compared to the previous 1.2 grams per kilogram of protein in their diet. Protein has the highest thermic and metabolic effect. Therefore, it takes more energy to break down and fully utilize, which will help to burn fats and carbs. A high protein diet is best paired alongside resistance training, and that can help lead to an increase in fat mass while decreasing body fat. Fat-free mass while decreasing body fat. Next, the last type of diet is intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting diet can be, one type is the alternate 24-hour fasting followed by the 24-hour feeding period. This causes a weight and fat loss due to the decreased calorie intake. Another type of intermittent fasting is the whole day fasting, which is 2 24-hour periods of fasting a week with 5 days of a maintenance diet. This diet shows weight loss, but there's no more effective, but it's no more effective than just eating in a caloric deficit every day. Another type of intermittent fasting is time-restricted feeding, which is fasting 16 to 20 hours a day with a feeding period of 4 to 8 hours a day. This diet causes weight loss as a result of decreased caloric intake, just like the other ones have. But studies have not noticed a significant change in body composition. The third question is, what are some of the important considerations or factors that would promote a favorable body composition, one that's lower in fat mass and higher in lean muscle tissue? So I don't really think that one diet is necessarily better than the other when it comes to body composition. I think as long as you are hitting the recommended daily intake for your macros, that your body composition will remain the same or slightly alter. Obviously, if you're a power lifter, your muscles are going to be bulkier versus if you run all the time, your muscles might be leaner. Cross-country runners use slow twitch muscles, which have a higher concentration in mitochondria and myoglobin. The fibers lead to smaller, more toned muscle, which is obviously that favored body type, the body composition that we talked about. Very often adults find it easiest to run either like before or after work, either outside or on the treadmill. Especially, in the summer when it's warm out, it's nice to go outside for a run. And running also is something that requires probably the least amount of equipment. And it's a fairly short workout. You can usually get a run in about 10 to 20 minutes. Or a nice walk in like 30 minutes. You don't have to be in the gym for 45 minutes to an hour like some people do. And you can attain that lower fat mass, higher lean muscle by doing those short runs or like the 30-minute walks. Another side of gaining the favorable body composition is what you eat. You're going to want to eat more calories from muscle-building foods like lean ground beef, pork, skinless poultry, eggs, and seafood are all good examples of lean protein sources that can help you meet your protein goals while also building the lean muscle. You're also going to want to have some healthy fats in your diet as well. You need carbohydrates, fats, and protein to have a well-balanced diet. Fat is essential for absorbing certain nutrients, and it also allows you to meet your calorie needs while building the muscle for the lean tissue, muscle tissue. Healthy fats from foods like olive oil, canola oil, nuts, seeds, and avocados are more likely to raise your ADLs, which is that good cholesterol, when replaced with saturated fat from animal products. You're going to want to avoid consuming alcohol, sugary drinks, and fried foods, and refined carbs as well to attain that favorable body composition. The fourth question is, explain the difference between an eating disorder and disordered eating, outlining potential warning signs. So, disordered eating does not necessarily mean that the individual has an eating disorder. The key distinction between disordered eating and an eating disorder is whether or not the person has symptoms and experiences that meet the American Psychiatric Association. So people with disordered eating often experience anxiety with specific food or even skipping meals. Their weight fluctuates often, and these individuals also have very set routines surrounding food and exercise. People with disordered eating usually don't realize that the impact of that the disordered eating has on their mental health. And disordered eating can also turn into a full eating disorder if the individual does not get back on the normal eating schedule of, 3 meals a day with a couple of snacks in between. Mainly just actually restricting their eating when they're hungry. That's not necessarily normal, nor should it be normal ever. Unless you're trying to lose weight for a reason, like you need to lose weight. In class, we listened to a presentation about disordered eating versus eating disorders, and it touched on sports a lot, mainly the sport of wrestling. Wrestling is a very weight determining sport. They have to weigh in to be able to get into their registered class of who they're going to wrestle against. So they have to cut weight and gain weight constantly, kind of within an unhealthy time period. So players very often have to lose that unhealthy amount of weight in a short time period to be able to meet their weight class. So that's how it's weight determining. So a player might walk around at 170 pounds, but they need to get down to 155 pounds in order to weigh in for their meet. So the wrestlers spend many days losing water weight, not drinking water, even though they might be dehydrated, and also being in a caloric deficit while on top of it exercising too. So they are losing a lot of weight in a short period of time in a really unhealthy way. After the wrestler weighs in, then the night before their meet, they're able to eat whatever they want and try and get bulkier than the person that they're going to be going up against in their meet. So that's when they can binge eat, go eat a steak, a cheeseburger, chips, lots of carbs, whatever they want, and drink lots of water just to be heavier than the person that they're going to be going up against. So that, like I said, that type of eating can turn into the binge eating if it's not managed properly, and the individual would also have to know that they're cutting weight for a sport. It's not just because of their body image. And I think that whenever that cutting of the weight becomes a reason to maybe alter their body image, then that's when they kind of get into that eating disorder range instead of disordered eating. Question 5 is explain why losing or gaining weight is not as simple as calories in or calories in, calories out. So calories in, calories out isn't the same as losing or gaining weight because different foods have different thermic effects on the body. Different foods also have different macronutrients, and the amount of protein, fats, and carbohydrates are different, varying the metabolic response. Also, weight loss requires a caloric deficit. You need to eat fewer calories than you burn to lose weight. After your body's energy requirements are met, the extra calories are stored for later use, mostly as fat. But some are also in your after your body's energy requirements are met. The extra calories are stored for later use as fat, but some are in your muscles as glycogen. That's what I was getting. So like consuming more calories than you require will result in weight gain, whereas consuming fewer calories than you require will result in weight loss. That would be like that caloric deficit. So if you consume too many calories and you're not using them, they're just gonna sit in your body and turn to fat. So that's why like they give you the recommendations, and it's best to meet those so that you don't gain more weight than you need to. Calories in, calories out kind of goes like beyond food and exercise. You have to eat less and move more, and it really only takes account into the calories that you eat and the calories that you burn through exercise and other daily movement. Also, water consumed will add weight to your body, even though water does not have any calories. So like the calories in, calories out doesn't even take into account water. I actually found an equation through research about calories in, calories out, and it's called the energy balance equation, which is actually kind of really complex. The equation is discussed by Dragonfly Fitness and Balanced Nutrition. And the equation is energy in minus energy out equals change in body stores. So the equation takes a lot of daily life things into consideration. The factors that influence energy in are appetite, which is your hormones like ghrelin and leptin. Food consumed, which is influenced by the time of day you eat, the knowledge, like your own knowledge of certain foods to eat and what not to eat, like what you know of, like as healthy or not healthy, your sleep quality, and energy density. Calories absorbed are influenced by macronutrient intake, age, health status, and energy level. So those are like all things that are influenced under energy in. Then factors that are influenced under energy out are energy burned at rest, which is influenced by your body size, your hormonal status, your genetic factors, your age, and your sleep quality. So it like takes into account metabolic factors, whether if you have diabetes, or any renal diseases. The next under energy out is energy burned through exercise, which is influenced by your exercise ability. So like, are you able to exercise? Do you have time to exercise in your day? Are you a couch potato, sedentary? And it takes into account like your intensity, duration, and type and frequency of that exercise. Energy burned is also taken into account by the non-exercise activities. So, like, what energy do you burn while you're sitting on the couch watching TV? And that activity is influenced by someone's health status, their energy status, stress level, hormonal status, and occupation. Lastly, energy burned by metabolic food is influenced by macronutrient makeup and how processed the food is that the person is consuming. So, as you can see, like, that equation is really complex, but I think it does a great job of showing that it's not just calories in, calories out. You have to take into account like what your body does when you're not doing anything, what it's burning when it's not doing anything, how your body reacts to certain foods, and how your hormones and sleep and age and genetic factors all take into account about how your body burns energy and how it or burns calories and how it uses calories and stores calories. And that's it.